Locked and loaded like a Grade 1 sprinter, approaching the quarter pole as we are just getting underway on this Saturday edition of Aqueduct Insider, settled in at Aqueduct Racetrack. Wherever you are, A, you've made it in time, and B, we hope you're someplace warm and dry. It's a Saturday here at the Big A. Jason Blute, Richard Migliore alongside. And Mig, could you imagine a Saturday without thoroughbred racing here in Queens?
No, not at all, and especially the quality of racing we had, particularly today, as we kicked off the road to the Kentucky Derby.
Absolutely. The 145th running of the Jerome is our featured 8th race. We will have it for you, fear not, from start to finish. Most eyes on the Gray Colt by Scat Daddy and El Kabir, who is quite dominating in victory, but more on that in a few moments. And really, it's a case big as we start the show. Big names throughout Saturday's headlines, made up of which, off the bat, 2 horses that are currently vying for three-year-old championship and Horse of the Year honors. The Breeders' Cup Classic winner Bayern, like California Chrome, turned into workout this morning. 3/4, 13-1 with Martin Garcia today out at Santa Anita.
And I think both horses are signaling their readiness for possibly that Breeders' Cup rematch in the San Antonio. Bayern, as we watched him resolute in victory in the Breeders' Cup Classic, 1 minute and 2/5. That's a pretty typical Bob Baffert work, maybe even a little on the slow side.
And here's your Derby winner, the now 4-year-old California Chrome, who down at Los Al went 3/4 and 12-3. Victor Espinoza making the trip south to get on that horse for trainer Art Sherman.
Well, if I was Victor Espinoza, I'd go to the ends of the earth to get on California Chrome. Horse has been very good to him, and 112 and change is extremely fast at Los Alamitos. It's a mile racetrack now, but they basically just made the stretches longer where the turns are still 5-furlong turns. So I think it's a very, very fast work for a smaller track.
We hope that's the case with both those horses showing up on February 7th in the 9-furlong San Antonio out at Santa Anita. I know Bob Baffert also noted that Bayern will be nominated, cross-nominated, if you will, to the Don Handicap, which is also on that same Saturday, February 7th card down at Gulfstream Park. We wait and see with bated breath. And Kid Cruz on the comeback trail and on the work tab this morning at Belmont Park. He won a half on the training track over in Elmont in 52-1.
Yeah, a very slow work. Looks like a work maybe to get him started, and they have a couple races possibly penciled in for him. But Kid Cruz, a horse that did his best running when he was allowed to lag and make one big run. It'd be interesting to see how he comes back as a 4-year-old.
He's been a terrific claim. Unraced since he finished 4th in the Travers, the Midsummer Derby. The Evening Attire or the Stymie might be where we see Kid Cruz next. But we were talking before we started the show, and he's been a terrific claim and a very good, or he was a very good 3-year-old. But the handicap division, staying put in the Big Apple in the cold winter months, it's a heady group.
I think it's a very strong group, and I think that speaks to the kind of purses we have here over the winter and the opportunities you have to run those kind of horses. I think we got a great comprehensive stakes program here in New York.
Including the 3-year-olds who we started things out today with the Jerome. We move on to the Withers, the Gotham, then the Wood Memorial. It'll be the first Saturday in May before you know it. And on that note, let's get them in the gate. It's the 145th running of the Withers, a big purse, 17 Kentucky Derby points. And here's John Abrial with the call into the turn.
Ostralenker is going out for the lead with Accurate right there. NASA's 3 wide. El Kabir will be 4 wide going into the clubhouse turn. Just in behind the front runners, Mini Cosmo and Royal Berg. Now we are free. Is 7th with a 5-length gap back to General Bellamy, who trails the field in 8th. And the field has reached the backstretch, the opening quarter mile over the good inner track in 23 3/5 seconds. Ostralenka is the leader here by a length over NASA. El Kabir in the clear on the outside in 3rd. Accurate runs in 4th, about 4.5 from the front. Royal Berg is in between horses. Now we are free is on the outside, and Mini Cosmo down at the rail, and it's a big break back to General Bellamy. The half went in 48 2/5 seconds. Ostralenka challenged here by NASA. Their heads apart for the lead, and the favorite El Kabir is right there in 3rd and now moving up, so 3 of them across. Ostralenker at the rail, NASA in between, El Kabir on the outside, 4 lengths to Accurate in 4th. Farther back, it's Mini Cosmo in 5th, 3/4 in 1:13-3, and the newly turned 3-year-olds head for home in the Jerome. And here's El Kabir now to take over the lead. El Kabir's in front. NASA is running in 2nd, then Accurate and Ostralenka. El Kabir has built a 3-length lead and just the 16th to the wire. And on this gray day at Aqueduct, it's the Gray Colt El Kabir to take the Jerome. NASA was 2nd. General Bellamy came from way out of it to finish 3rd.
3 for 6 in his young career. El Kabir, the goods, is the big favorite with CC Lopez. For John Terranova, I think a good effort any way you slice it.
I think it was a really strong effort. He had a lot go wrong early. He was caught pretty wide the first turn because of the draw. Nothing Chucky Lopez can do. But then he settled, and he actually showed a different dimension, and I like that. And he really won with pretty mild urging.
Connections were happy. Mig caught up with them, in fact, moments after the grade 3 Jerome.
John, you had to be a little bit nervous around the first turn when he was strung along so wide.
A little wide, yeah. It looked like they were all getting pretty aggressive early inside of him, but, I love the way he relaxed out there. CC didn't panic. Well-experienced jocks on him, so, we knew he had the horse, just a matter of being able to handle the track out in that middle of it.
You had to be very pleased to see that other dimension, that he could sit off horses and finish as well as he did.
We've been training him like that. He sat off a workmate, and he's relaxed beautifully in the morning, push button, and we were just waiting to see, when it would happen in the afternoon. But, like I said, his maturity levels, just leaps and bounds, race to race right now, and he's really going the right way. So it was a nice dimension that he showed us today.
Chucky, you were strung out a little bit wide in the first turn with the draw, but he seemed very confident. Was he traveling like a winner the whole way?
He was. Every time I went to settle him down, he'd take back off again, and I'd have to throttle him back down. So I was pretty comfortable most of the race.
What's it like? You weren't named on him. You picked the mount up. What's it like when you pick up a horse like this, and he's a favorite in a big race?
I'll tell you, it's a good feeling that still at the age of 54, I'm still in demand. So it's a pretty good feeling. It really is.
If he comes out of the race well, do you think you'll come back in the Withers, or are you looking at any other spots?
It's a possibility. He seems to be thriving off racing, but I guess we'll just see how he is, talk with the Zayat family, and go from there.
A New York Colt through and through. The Withers, the Gotham, those will probably be the next spot, or spots you'll see El Kabir next. And a likable crew of connections. Ahmed Zayat obviously has invested quite a bit of time and money in the thoroughbred racing game, a guy that has gotten close on occasion to winning a Triple Crown race when you think of Bodemeister, Nero, and even a Painter. But regarding John Terranova and CC Lopez, it was good to see them in the winner's circle today.
It really was, and I think not too much can be made of the fact that's a high-pressure situation for a jockey to pick a horse up that's a favorite in a big race at the last minute. There's a lot of expectation. You don't know the horse you want to deliver. Well, Chucky Lopez, he delivered. And John Terranova, to me, what I see from the outside, has kind of changed up his training of this colt a little bit. He seemed like he was working faster works before the Champagne, and he has Simon Harris, a very accomplished exercise rider, working with him. This horse has seemed to slow down in the morning, and maybe that's the key to him showing this other dimension.
Relaxed after the stumble. You talked about it. A good effort from El Kabir, and it was a gapped-out Jerome. We'll see where the dust settles going forward. As we head forward to race number 6, kicked off a very intriguing $200,000 guaranteed Saturday late pick 4. We send it back to Johnny I for the call. Big group of 3-year-old maidens down the backside.
Madrouse on the extreme outside, but now Call Daddy moves up to take over. Call Daddy is the leader, clear by almost 3 lengths. Instructor Kunu runs in second. Madrouse is third, with On Tap down towards the rail in fourth. Uninfluenced now gains ground on the extreme outside in 5th. Maybe a Diamond is 6th. Little Love in 7th. Mandolin Wins is back running in 8th. Money Multiplier is next in 9th. Then farther back, it's Autumn Ember. To his inside is Strategery, and Mount Balfy's corner is the trailer in 12th, the quarter in 23-1. Call Daddy leads here by 2. On top, the gray down at the rail. Madrouse on the outside. Instructor Kunu is back in 4th. Uninfluenced is 5th, and then Maybe a Diamond. The half, 47 1/5 seconds. Call Daddy On Tap is gaining ground down at the rail as they come for the 8th pole. Madrouse moves up on the outside. It's On Tap and Madrouse. They're now 1-2. Call Daddy back in 3rd. On Tap. Madrouse on the outside. Late run from Money Multiplier. On Tap takes it. Madrouse was 2nd. Then Money Multiplier and Uninfluenced.
Good to see Tappet with the maiden winner kicking off 2015, now standing for $300,000, and he's got an okay one for the Bromans and Linda Rice.
Yeah, one of the few horses you'll see that the Bromans didn't actually breed, and they reached out and they bought this horse and rewarded, and Boy, we see a lot of Taffets win this year and into 2014 into 2015.
And keep in mind, this was a horse, a second-time start out of a world-class racing family. Fantastic Churl by Fantastic Light. That's that old-school sort of Delridge Farm family. There's been a couple Breeders' Cup Turf winners and Filly Mare Turf winners on that side of the family, but this is a second-time starter who was outside against the gold rail here on the Cigar Mile undercard. That's been a profitable angle to bet back. And regarding some of the also-rans, Money Multiplier, good ride from Kendrick Carmouche, saving ground, was flying late out in the middle of the track.
Yeah, Kendrick Carmouche is a very welcome addition to the New York Colony, a guy who probably could have made the move sooner, but I think people are going to catch on to the fact that this guy can really ride, and I think it just strengthens up an already deep colony. I thought the first-time starter that took a lot of money from Todd Pletcher, the Rapoli stable, Uninfluenced. Am I saying that correctly? Yeah. He just looked like had the look of a colt to me, that the light bulb hasn't gone on yet mentally. I think this is a horse that will improve a lot with a race.
Coming up from Palm Beach Downs, took all the play at 2-1, a bit one-paced in that defeat. Second time out, you'll probably be taking around 6-5 or 7-5, but it sounds like you like him. We like all of you. We'll send it to break. We've got more of John and Brielle, and we've got a pretty tough 10-year-old Gray coming up, so stay tuned. Back here at the Big A, we are back live, in fact, on the Saturday edition of Aqueduct Insider. We see Glenn Kozak and his track maintenance crew doing their job, and in fact, this was an inner track MIG that took some moisture throughout the day. I think it was downgraded to good before the start of race number 7, but clearly this is a 1-mile racing surface that handles precipitation and moisture well.
It really does. The problems we've had with the inner track in the past, when a lot of moisture gets into it and then it freezes, the track's great. Then when we get warm weather, it thaws out and a lot of moisture comes up from the bottom. They have handled this track so well, and even though we had some moisture today, I think it was welcome needed moisture.
Good and Harold as we get it to race number 7. Johnny I with the call. This is a solid group. New York bred allowance horses 3 and up, or I should say 4 and up now at the start of the new year, and we'll send it back to Johnny I.
Way well from the extreme outside. Lila's Jazz. There goes the Big Deluxe now. The Big Deluxe to the front. Flying Zealous is in between horses. Be Bullish is down at the rail. Lila's Jazz is a close-up 4th. Smoke'em's Charm runs in 5th and is 5 wide. Ready to Defer is 6th and 6 wide. Extreme outside is Seek to Destroy, 7 wide. And then comes Mind Over Matter, and then it's a big break back to the trailer Towering Moon in 9th. The quarter went in 23 and 1/5 seconds. 4 of them across the track. The Big Deluxe, Lila's Jazz, Be Bullish at the rail, and Flying Zealous. They come into the stretch now. The half went in 47 and 1/5 seconds. Be Bullish down at the rail. Lila's Jazz on the outside. The Big Deluxe is now back running in 3rd. Towering Moon at the rail. In the meantime, Be Bullish steps away here. Be Bullish with a 5-length lead. Then Lila's Jazz and Towering Moon. The 10-year-old boy wins here and wins decisively. Lila's Jazz was second. Towering Moon rallied.
It's the old Gray boy showing them how it's done here. Win number 17. He's past the $1 million mark, and a dominating effort out of Be Bullish.
And big move up in class, up the claim last time, and this horse is in outstanding form. And I can't say enough about this horse. He's 10 years old, but he seems to have turned back the clock. I think this is the best form, most consistent form he's ever been in his career.
You noted last time out, and a lot was made on social media and the knee-jerk reaction. Well, he hit the $1 million mark. He's going to turn 10 in a few weeks. This was his last race back in December. It's time to retire him. But you had noted how fluid he's moving, how happy he looks out there, and the proof is in these efforts. I mean, he's just dominated in his last couple.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a horse that's actually flourishing right now. It's one thing if a horse is turning 10 or is 10, and his form is deteriorated, or you see his talent has eroded to a point where maybe he shouldn't be doing this anymore. That's not the case with Be Bullish. He's moving good. He looks as sound, if not sounder than ever before. And horses want a job. He's actually enjoying himself. So there's no template for when a horse should stop. The horse tells you when he should stop. Obviously, Be Bullish is not ready to stop.
David Jacobson off the reclaim today. Maybe the Holly Hughes, a race Be Bullish won in 2011, and a few years later, in fact, last year in 2014, towards the middle of this month, might be where we see Be Bullish next. But he was terrific today. The 3 races we've had from start to finish have all been good as we get on to the sizzling 6. Johnny I with the call the first 5. Travis Stone with the call of the 9th.
the back, it's Cutie Bird and Ooh La La. They come into the stretch. West Drew Max on the outside. Rockin' Jody towards the rail. And here comes Truly Possible now up on the outside. Truly Possible to challenge Rockin' Jody with less than an eighth of a mile to the finish. Rockin' Jody, Truly Possible. Truly Possible now has the lead. Rockin' Jody battles on. They come for the wire. Truly Possible by a head. Rockin' Jody was second. Big break. Back to Ooh La La. Then 3 lengths. Western Trist and Moped both under the whip trying to get to Say Mr. Sandman, who leads by 2.5. Moped on the outside moves to second. Western Trist back in third. Farther back, Reggie D and Volastic. It's Say Mr. Sandman. Moped driving up on the outside. Say Mr. Sandman still in front. They come for the wire. Say Mr. Sandman wins it. Moped was second. Reggie D came up for third. Patrol and Abra, they're on even terms after a half in 48 seconds. Night Patrol has now taken over the lead as Abra drops back in the beat, moving into second, then nonstop. B-Motter out in the middle of the track, making a late bid here. They're coming down for the 16th pole. It's Night Patrol and in the beat, and B-Motter on the outside. In the beat's in front. In the beat, Big Balloons. 42-1. Artemis Paperboy challenged here by Poliziano for the Love of Lil is third. Artemis Paperboy holding on to a narrow advantage. Poliziano all out in second. For the Love of Lil is third. Less than an eighth of a mile to the finish. Artemis Paperboy in front, length and a half. Poliziano in second. And for the Love of Lil in third. Artemis Paperboy drifting out in the stretch, but wins again by 3.5. Poliziano second. For the Love of Lil in front. Alkalight's under the whip. The Spotted Wonder. Alkalyte on the outside. Change Will Do You Good is third and looking to squeeze through down at the rail. Here's Alkalyte to challenge the Spotted Wonder. Room on the inside for Change Will Do You Good, who's still in third. Now is 16th out. Alkalyte pokes ahead in front of the Spotted Wonder. They race to the finish. Alkalyte the winner. The Spotted Wonder was second. Change Will Do You Good finished third. A big break to a photo for fourth.
They're off the turn, and Watergate comes a bit wide off the turn. Watergate's in front, though. Down inside, Copernicus is fighting on for long to go. Farther back, Private Thrill is third, a long way back to everybody else, down to the final 16th. Copernicus down inside, locked in battle with Watergate on the outside, but Watergate with the upper hand as they race for the line, and it will be Watergate, the 2-length winner. Good effort from Copernicus for second, Private Thrill third. Farther back, You're the King Jimmy was fourth.
Well, they'll say Watergate wasn't a crook here in the nightcap. Manny Franco dropping in for George Weaver. Game in the win over Copernicus. It was a huge price and showed up with a good effort for Robert Falcone Jr. Number of good state-bred races today, though, Mig, and we'll get everybody back to race 5. I know you want to take us through the last quarter mile or so with Change Will Do You Good, who wound up running third for the Bromans and John Kimmel.
Yeah, you can see him on the rail now, number 3 in the green. And watch the inside rein of jockey Junior Alvarado. Junior wanted to come out around horses into the stretch. This horse was lugging in so badly that he had no choice but to drop him back to the rail. And you could see that inside rein flop, and that only happens when a guy has such a problem keeping a horse straight. He basically has his hands full, so he's on the one outside rein, and he's going to the left-handed whip to keep him from basically bouncing off the rail. So I know a lot of people in the moment would probably ask, well, why didn't he go outside? I think if he had his choice, he would have went outside. The horse didn't want none of it.
Going forward, is this a case where Change Will Do You Good? The next time you see him in the entries, you're supposed to worry, is he just going to be lugging in and a real big nightmare for the rider at crunch time?
Well, I think Change would do him good in the way of different kind of bit, or maybe some blinkers, maybe an extension blinker on the inside, but certainly something to give the rider more control, because right now he looks like a very difficult horse to ride.
Jose Ortiz wound up winning the race with Alkalyte. He had finished, or at least midway through, because he won 3 today at one point, and after taking race number 6 with On Tap, was 9 for 20 in 2015.
Way to start the year, almost 50%. You know he can't keep that up, but it's a great way to get started.
Well, from one top young rider to another, Angel Cruz, the 5-pound apprentice with the Frost Giant, New York bred standout on the day. In fact, on this opening Saturday in 2015, we got to give it to Be Bullish, the gray 10-year-old by Pure Prize out of Smart Holly by Smartin, a class act dominating in race 7.
And he dominated. He was under pressure. Angel had to steady him at the break because he broke hard out to the right. He had to straighten him up, cost him a step or two. Then he rushed up to the inside, was under pressure every step of the way, and then he just drew away at will. This is a horse that's really, really found the fountain of youth.
And he underscores how good the Frost Giants can be, because Be Bullish has been good. He was good early, and he's good late in his career, and you get that with the Frost Giants. Turf, dirt, short, long, it doesn't matter. Eric Bishop at eric@sunrisestallions.com, 516-606-9768, the breed, the Frost Giant, who's standing at Keen Stud in 2015. As we get on to the rider standings, we already gave it away. Another three-bagger, another multi-win day. Jose Ortiz is just knocking them dead atop the standings.
He really is, just drawing away every day, and you get the three amigos there on top. Jose Ortiz, Manny Franco, and Irad Ortiz. And the apprentices doing well right in behind them. Terrific young colony.
Trainer standings, David Jacobson did come away with the victory. In fact, won 2 races. Artemis Paperboy, a little on the cheaper side, but he won 4 straight and was pretty determined over Poliziano back in race 3 or 4, and he's got 13. But Linda Rice got Kid Cruz the breeze this morning. Got a nice maiden winner in race 6.
Yeah, for the Broman family, and just a lot of guys there on that list with very high percentages as well.
Same thing could be said for the owner standings. A high-profile group pretty much from top to bottom. These are the men and women that pay the bills. We salute them, and we like to see the Big A wins spread around.
Yeah, 5-way dead heat for leading owner at the moment. That'll sort itself out, but some usual suspects up there on the leaderboard.
I forgot to look at the claims, so let's see if there were any on this opening Saturday in 2015 at Aqueduct Racetrack. In fact, a few horses changed hands. Race 3 was popular, as was race 4.
Yeah, and a lot of claiming going on. Everybody kind of loading up for the remainder of the winter. We got a lot of good racing to continue throughout this winter season.
And we've got a lot more Aqueduct Insider continuing, including a Sunday preview as we head to the inner track, and the fans are rooting. Nothing better than being at the races on a Saturday here in Queens. Get that horse home, guys. Start using that post parade as a whip. Mig and I are back in just a second. Passing the quarter pole on the Saturday edition of Aqueduct Insider. Glad you're still with us on MSG Plus. 1 stake tomorrow afternoon. It's been kind of neat, Mig. Since New Year's Day in the Affectionately, we've had at least 1 stake through each of these racing cards in the new year.
A terrific way to start the year, and I love that the stake schedule is actually bigger purses. There was one winter where a lot of these races were $75,000, $50,000. These are all $100,000 and up.
Yeah, and $100K is the purse tomorrow, and the featured third race, in fact, the Ruthless Stakes, which only has a field of 5, but it's the right 5 going in with 3-year-old fillies, and has a Grade 2 winner in the mix, and Paula's Silver Lining, who got the right ride, and a great ride at that from Jose Ortiz, Red Cap, and the Matron.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this filly on the turn back. I mean, she ran a mile in the Tempted. I thought she ran okay. I think she's stronger sprinting, and I think you're going to see a much better finish from her through the stretch.
For Michelle Nevin, who's doing very little wrong. And keep in mind, this filly is a half to Dad's Caps, who probably won the Carter, but probably at his best tops out going 3/4, and she'll get that 6 furlong distance on the inner track tomorrow. But she does face a couple of horses that are dropping out of a race here, closing day on the main, Sunday, November 30th. Let's pick it up. Really keep your eye on the one Dickinson, who was hard used from the rail and will steady midway up the backstretch.
Yeah, she really had a tough trip, and she gets an outside post, which I think is going to be a benefit. You're going to see she's going to kind of get shuffled back a little bit there. Then the dirt's going to hit her. The kickback's going to make her stop even more. Steadies again, kind of backs out of the race. And with her pedigree, you know she's going to want to go further, but she did good to rally to be second over an erratic running winner, Noble and a Beauty, which we'll see in the stretch.
She was very green, Noble, and a beauty, and she also was a Rick Fowler firster, who was cranked up to win, took all the money at 2-to-1 first time out for a barn that excels with that move. And keep in mind, now the runner-up is running inside too, the Darley filly, who puts in a sustained but bold bid around the far turn, but both the winner and the runner-up rode a gold rail. This was a day you wanted to be inside, and horses with outside trips were not getting it done.
No, and absolutely, they had the benefit of that, but it's difficult, particularly for Dickinson, who is having to run through that kickback. A first-time starter to do that shows a lot of quality, and she finishes on well. Keep your eye on the leader right now. She dove towards the rail as jockey Jose Ortiz kind of picked up the whip. She said, no, I don't like that. Don't do that. I think he'll be very careful about how hard he rides her tomorrow. She's obviously obviously talented as she drifts out through the stretch, but a big green.
Homebred filly by Noble Causeway, out of a mare over in a beauty who's got some pedigree power, herself being a half-sister to the great Tappet. So we'll see what we get second time out with Rick Violet's horse. We'll see what we get second time out from Kieran McLaughlin and Art Magnuson. And, of course, you've got the matron winner, Paula Silverlining, to get around in the Ruthless. As we head to race number 8, well, we had Mig a 10-year-old win today. We've got a pair of 10-year-olds running tomorrow. Hop, Skip, and Away, who's running midway through the card, and the old beast, Groom for Victory, who comes out of the same race in November on the main as Joe Mooch.
And you think about Groom for Victory, 5 victories last year at the age of 9. There's no reason why he can't add to that score tomorrow or through this year. And Joe Mooch has been in great form, too, as he turns 5. A horse that was bred next door to me, basically.
A furlong away from your place, right?
Just about a furlong away, and nice to see him in good form as well. And I like him back on the stretch.
Yeah, he got the big win, 2 back going long for Linda Rice. I do think Joe Mooch, in a wide-open race, is very dangerous. This is a race where trip, luck, and who shows up with the good effort they're going to be the deciding factors as we look at This Hard Land, who's kept some good company. Real overachiever for Rodrigo Ubillo. This horse rarely goes off a short price and usually shows up with a good effort.
Yeah, he does show up usually every time with a good effort. I've always not really been convinced this horse is a 2-turn kind of horse. He likes the distance, but he's excelled at 1-turn races. Belmont Park seems to suit him well. He's going to have to show me that he can get it done going 2 turns on the inner track.
May mitigate his kick. He is well posted down towards the rail with Angel Arroyo. And then what do you do? Perhaps the biggest wild card of all is Deceived, who's making only his second start since the Mike Lee tomorrow. Horse that showed some quality as a 3-year-old last winter on the inner.
Yeah, he did. His form kind of went a little bit awry. I think he's going to have to prove it to me as well that he's back in that kind of form. He didn't run that well last time on a sloppy track in his return, but he might get some moisture tomorrow too, and I don't know if that bodes well for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't like him over a wet track. Went to Daywells coming out of that same race. I thought he might take a step forward. As long as the track is dry, we'll wait and see what Mother Nature and Glenn Kozak can do for the 12-race card or 9-race card that begins at 12:25. Speaking of race 9, here's Maggie's Paddock Insider, a firster who looks pretty good.
Welcome to another edition of Paddock Insider, guys. I am well prepared for the winter weather that has come our way here at the Big A, but taking a look at tomorrow's card, which does promise to be probably on the sloppier side or on the wet side as far as the track is concerned, but hanging around to race number 9. It's a maiden special weight for the 3-year-old fillies in here, and I'm going to take a look at a first-time starter coming out of the Chad Brown barn, not to mention ridden by Jose Ortiz and owned by Martin Short, so that's a powerful threesome there. Alliteration is a filly by Congrats who worked 21 flat going back to the OBS April sale. Now, really at this time of year, you don't really think that that kind of is going to be useful, that information, but watching her stride, I was very impressed. I mean, she covers a lot of ground, and that's just something I love to see in these younger horses and first-time starters. So I think with Chad Brown in her corner, Alliteration might be the one for tomorrow's 9th, and that's your Paddock Insider for today, guys.
Chad Brown winning the Ginger Brew Stakes earlier today down at Gulfstream Park. He's got a good crew working at Belmont Park. Among his main assistants, Cherie DeVoe does a terrific job. I don't know as good of a job as Maggie's hat, though, which looks like it keeps her pretty warm.
Yeah, I was just worried that in the rain that it might,
get a little too heavy and soggy?
Maybe.
Well, anyway, Maggie stayed dry. She was dodging 3-year-old maidens and raindrops most of the day, but she got out of it unscathed, as did El Kabir. We get a kiss from Chucky, a salute from Chucky. We love the native from Brooklyn, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on Aqueduct Insider.